It's like, yo, then I'm really scrolling and niggas really like surprised she got cut. Like, what?
A lot of people is really starting to say Dawn Staley really ain't developing players. She's just landing the best players in the country and just sending them on their way.
Dawn Staley called Bree Hall an elite defender, but the Indiana Fever just waived her from their roster. How does a player go from being praised by one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball to getting cut before the season even starts?
It called her an elite defender. Now, if she was so elite, why would the Indiana Fever have to let her go?
The Fever are making room for other players like Michaela Tempson and Lexi Hall, but fans are divided. Some say Hall wasn't good enough. Others claim there's more to the story. Did Staley's high praise set Hall up for failure by creating expectations she couldn't live up to? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So was Dawn Staley actually hurting Bree Hall by calling her an elite defender? That's what people can't stop talking about right now. When a coach like Staley puts that kind of label on you, it's not just a nice compliment. It creates huge expectations that follow you everywhere.
Get up out of here, dog. Indiana Fever cut elite defender loved by Dawn Staley.
The Fever cutting Hall shows there was a massive gap between what Staley said and what the team actually saw in practice. Think about it. When your college coach tells the world you're elite at something, WNBA coaches are expecting to see that right away. They're not giving you time to develop that skill. They want to see it immediately. Let's talk about Hall's actual numbers at South Carolina. She averaged just 8.5 points and couldn't even grab 1 steal per game in her final season. Those aren't bad stats, but they definitely don't scream elite defender either. The numbers just don't back up the hype.
The Indiana Fever let it be known that they will be parting ways with Dawn Staley, South Carolina Gamecocks, Bree Hall. The Indiana Fever released an elite defender.
What's crazier is what happened in training camp. WNBA scouts were watching Hall struggle to guard faster players, the exact thing she was supposed to be great at. Imagine showing up with this reputation as a defensive specialist and then having pro guards blow past you in practice. That's rough. The pressure must have been insane. Every time Hall stepped on the court, everyone was watching to see this elite defender Staley talked about. That kind of spotlight can mess with your head and your game. You start overthinking instead of just playing.
It's like, yo, then I'm really scrolling and niggas really like surprised she got cut. Like, what?
What makes this even more shocking is how many South Carolina players make it in the WNBA. The Gamecocks usually send players who stick around in the league. That's why everyone was surprised when Hall got cut. Staley's players usually come ready to play. The Fever's decision reveals what they really value. They kept players they think can contribute right now, not someone who might need time to develop. That's the harsh reality of pro basketball. There's a huge jump from college success to WNBA readiness that fans don't always see. Hall got caught in that gap. Her skills that worked in college just weren't translating fast enough at the pro level. When coaches hype players too much, they're not doing them any favors. All that praise creates a spotlight that follows you everywhere. Now, instead of just developing quietly, Hall has to deal with everyone analyzing why she didn't live up to the elite defender label.
This entire league, the amount of PR these South Carolina players be getting, bro. Like, Bree Hall is the fakest defender.
Sometimes the biggest favor a coach can do is let a player's game speak for itself. Getting cut by the Fever isn't the end for Bree Hall. It could actually be the start of something way better for her career.
Overall, by the way, I do think Bree Hall will get snatched up by somebody, all right? I do believe that.
Think about it. So many WNBA stars got cut or traded early on before they found the right team. This happens all the time in the West. Hall might actually benefit from this cut. Now she can develop her game without everyone watching her every move and expecting her to be this elite defender Staley talked about.
I didn't think that was going to cut one of Dawn Staley players because, quite frankly, players from South Carolina really don't be getting cut like that.
That's a lot of pressure to shake off. Sometimes you need space to grow. Several teams are probably already looking at Hall's potential. Her defense might not be WNBA ready yet, but teams love players they can develop. If she can improve her shooting to go with her defensive skills, watch out. That combination makes you valuable in this league. Going overseas is probably her best move right now. So many WNBA players take this path. They go play in Europe, Australia, or Asia, where they can work on their game. They get tons of playing time, face different styles of play, and come back to the WNBA stronger.
So that's interesting. Fever fans expecting Bree Hall, role player at South Carolina, to beat out Sydney Colston for the roster spot.
This could be exactly what Hall needs. What's crazy is South Carolina players almost never get cut. They usually show up to the WNBA super prepared. Hall's situation proves that even coming from Staley's system doesn't guarantee you'll make it right away. The jump to pro ball is just that big.
A lot of people is really starting to say Dawn Staley really ain't developing players. She's just landing the best players in the country and just sending them on their way.
This cut might be the best thing that ever happened to her. Now she can find a team where she fits better and develop at her own speed. No more pressure of being Staley's elite defender. Just a player working on her game. The most successful players in the WNBA often hit these roadblocks early. Look at players who got cut or benched their first year. They came back stronger because they had to evolve their game. That adversity pushes you to improve. Staley wasn't necessarily wrong about Hall being an elite defender. Her skills just didn't translate to the WNBA immediately. College defense and pro defense are totally different games. What works against 21-year-olds doesn't always work against veteran pros who've been playing for years. Hall's story is now about proving herself on her own terms, not living up to Staley's description, but creating her own identity as a player.
People in the media is picking up and oh man, they digging up stories from Dawn Staley calling Bree Hall an elite defender.
The best revenge is success, and Hall has every opportunity to come back stronger. Sometimes you need that chip on your shoulder to reach your full potential. Fans are shocked by Hall getting cut because when Dawn Staley puts her stamp on you, that usually means something in the WNBA. But this shows how big that jump is from college to pro ball. Even players from top programs can struggle with the adjustment.
He was highly praised by head coach Dawn Staley at South Carolina as the WNBA team announced this departure today, bruh.
The question isn't if Staley was wrong about Hall. It's whether Hall uses this to fuel her comeback. We've seen it before. Players get cut, go overseas, and return better than ever. Basketball careers aren't defined by one setback. They're defined by how you respond when things get tough. Bree Hall's story is just getting started.